Even when it's to them, writing correspondence never seems to get any easier. I want to tell them everything, but writing it down, having to be sensible and concise... I wish I could just talk to them. I could barely decide what greeting to start with. Let's see, we're past the scribbled out dears and dearests. How about... Thank you for writing me back. I was almost worried you might not. Is that a good way to start? It sounds guilt-trippy. First draft. Just keep going. I ended up reading your letter in your former quarters. It was almost as if you were right there with me. You write just like you talk. I mean that as a compliment. I kept the contents private, but I did let the Archers know you'd been in touch. Sometimes I think they miss you more than I do. No, cross that out. I don't need to remind them of that. They already know. They were all glad to hear that you're well and keeping up with your training. As am I. I'd hate to think of you losing your fighting spirit, although I know you're mostly using your bow to hunt these days. Speaking of, I am very glad you didn't end up shooting the familiar I sent with my first letter. I suppose I should have warned you, but I didn't think of it at the time. He may look a tad frightening, but he flies very fast, and I was eager to hear from you. I appreciate you letting him rest in your cottage while you wrote your response. As for the scolding you gave me about sending a creature you didn't know what to feed, I assure you he can go quite a time without eating. He's not of this plane, though. I'll spare you the boring details. But in future, if you wish to give him food as a treat, any bits of meat or bone will suffice. I suppose he does deserve them for being so well behaved, but I wouldn't expect anything less of him. He should consider himself lucky that he gets to see you. No, cross that out. I can't say that. Things around here have been about as peaceful as they can be. You wouldn't believe it, but I finally received a letter from a royal that wasn't full of threats. Unfortunately, it was proposing an alliance through an arranged marriage. The idea was ludicrous. You would have laughed if you read it. Someone my age has no business marrying a young prince, especially when my heart belongs to someone else. No, cross that out. That's the last thing they want to hear. I don't know what they think I'd get out of such an arrangement. If they're worried about me attacking, they think too highly of themselves. Some may say I have no business calling myself royalty, but you can go lower as it turns out. What else? In your letter, you asked about my potions and that you thought of them because you saw plants I use growing in the forest. I had noticed when I visited that you're in an optimal foraging location. Not that you'd have magical use for them, but I'm certain they improve ordinary cooking as well. One thing most potion makers don't consider is taste. As for my potions, I've hit a bit of a wall. I haven't seen much improvement in my mixtures for months now. No, scratch that. Improvements have plateaued somewhat, perhaps due to the quality of ingredients, but maybe I'm just in a slump. I'm certain I'll be mixing potions with the best of them in no time at all. It was easier when I could work through the process by explaining it to you. They don't care about that. Cross it out. Even though there are difficulties, I'm good at not letting it show. My minions are as loyal as ever, though those in the higher ranks have been asking if I'm feeling all right. It's honestly a bit annoying. I tell them I'm just fine. But of course I'm not. It's as though I see your ghost everywhere. Everything that reminds me you're not here is painful. I haven't assigned anyone else to your quarters. I can't. Sometimes I'll just go in there and pretend I'm waiting for you to come back while I read reports. I've mindlessly gone out to the archery range hoping to see you there. I miss having you to talk to. I miss seeing you. This all used to be so simple before, but you changed everything. I'm different now, better and worse, and I fear everyone can tell. But I can't show any weakness. I can't admit that missing you has thrown me off so severely. I'm greedy and selfish, and a part of me wishes I could have convinced you to return even if it was just out of pity. I want to keep you all to myself, but I also want you to be happy. I know I acted composed when you said no before, but inside I felt the exact opposite. Please, come back. I need you in my life. Okay, I definitely can't send any of that. But it felt good to get it off my chest. My minions are as loyal as ever, and I look forward to what the future brings. Please write back soon. I'd love to hear more about your forest adventures. Yours truly. Faithfully? No. Just Illes. No need for formality. It's just a first draft, but that was exhausting. And I need to redo half of this and cut out those parts. I wish I could just... No. They said not to ask for them to come back, and I don't want them to stop writing me. It's better than nothing. Now, time to write the letter I'll actually send. There. Perfect. A cordial, friendly letter without any of that stuff. Cut down at least a page, I'm sure. Now, where's my familiar? Oh, that was quick. Take this to that cottage as quick as you can, and make sure you're as well behaved as before. You may be rewarded this time. Off like a shot. Much better than a carrier pigeon. I can't wait to see what they write back. I'm just thinking there ain't no fucking way they're mowing the lawn in fucking November, but they are. It snowed on Halloween.